Hi, it's Kerry from Mobilates. I'm back this week. Sorry, I was poorly last week, but I'm getting there this week. I'm nearly recovered, so we're going to take it really gentle. And it's Mind Space Week at Virtual Village Hall, so we're always mindful in this practice, this session. We're just going to focus on what we normally focus on, how things are feeling, just checking in with our head, checking in with our body and listening to what we hear. You know, the body can't talk. We've just got to take all those other cues that we feel in our head, in our body, or the sensations. So we'll just do it just as usual, but there's extra focus on Mind Space Week. There's extra things going on in Virtual Village Hall. Do give things a check. So starting with some breath work, and there are some amazing breath work activities spread over the week. Definitely recommend those. We're going to take in 2 inhales. It's a bit like you're sniffing a flower and you go, and you just take 2 sniffs. Doesn't even have to be very deep. But let's take 2 breaths in. And then I want you to sigh it out like you've just sat down in a really comfy way. You can do this as always. We're going to do seated and standing, and I'll do it all the way through the class. Breathing in twice, 2 little sniffs. And a really audible sigh. We'll do it one more time. And then a little wiggle sitting or standing. I think my sighs have set our dog off, so you might hear her barking in the background. Feet facing forwards. It's about a 2 feet gap between the knees, or you can look down and see a book between your feet, that sort of space. And then grow taller. And if you're sitting on the chair or on the edge of your bed, we're not sitting very far back. We've got about 1/3 of the chair underneath our thighs. Right, now we're going to grow tall. You can have a hand on your belly and a hand on your back and just feel the shape. This is the first mindful sort of moment here. Notice the shape. Doesn't matter what the shape is. There's likely to be some sort of curve or series of curves and bumps at the front, and it's either going to feel straight at the back or it might go in a bit, whatever your shape is. Right, now take a breath in, and we're aiming this breath so that our ribs move outwards a little at the side. Now as we breathe out, feel your belly just come back away from your hand a little and send the waistband of whatever trouser type things you're wearing back a little. As you breathe in, send your belly and what's then behind your hand, your back, forwards a little. Breathing out, send it back. So if I show you from the side, you'll see this sort of rocking sensation because we are pelvic tilting. So we're just getting that sort of rocking, and you really notice the rocking when you're sitting, when you're lying down. Now when you're standing, there's nothing to rock against. You haven't got anything underneath you. So it's a less obvious sensation. But I normally say, look at the hem of my top. This is what I look at when I look at people in person. And then you can see that movement. It's for the lumbar spine, this low bit of your back here. We're just getting a bit of movement into the lumbar. So from about here downwards. And then a little shimmy side to side. But keep your head and your shoulders. We're not doing head, shoulders, knees and toes. Keep those still. Just give things a little wiggle, a little shift up each side. It's like you're trying to lift each side of your bum and thigh up a little on the chair, but you're trying not to move the rest of your body. That's it. Lovely. We'll grow tall again. Tap the back of your head. Take your head back a little, your face back a little, just like you're about to lean against a wall. You might feel that you've just developed a few extra chins. Excellent. Right, now turn, glide your head as easily as you can from one side to the other. Nothing else changes. Your back just stays where it is. It's just your neck. Come back to the center, and then we're going to do a sort of horseshoe roll. Rolling from one side to the other. Now you might make this much smaller if you've got really sore neck, osteoarthritis in your neck, that sort of thing. You might feel it's uncomfortable today and you want to keep it really small. Well, absolutely fine, of course. You may feel you want to make it bigger, almost like a full circle. So you know your neck. I know mine, and this is my sort of range of movement. It's a little bit stiff, but this is good for me. And you might be going further. It's all good. And then come back to the center and just with your hands resting against your legs or by your sides, just have a little wriggle forwards and backwards. See how your shoulders feel today. And you might want to stay like that. That might feel like enough. Or you might take your arms down by your sides, long. And now as we breathe in, let your shoulders come forwards. You can see these sort of round bits of my shoulders come forwards, look a little hunched. And then up. And a little pause. And then get ready to breathe out through your nose if you can. As they go around the back, feel your shoulder blades come together, down. So we've got a nice little cycle going on. It's a bit like being at the beach. Feel the sea coming in, going out. And then repeat that cycle but forwards. Just a couple of times. Lovely. And now let's get into our feet. So just give your feet a little wriggle. Your toes can come up and down. Heels can come up and down just a little bit. Just give them a little bit of movement. And then it's like we're going for a walk. So we can be walking in the chair. You can be walking on the spot. And now I want you to change it. I want you to just walk on your heels. So your toes might go out a little bit. They might go in. I would encourage you to try both. But the pressure is towards the back of your foot and your toes. Try not to press the toes and the ball of your feet down. I'm just turning my feet in and out. So you get sort of like penguin walks and duck walks and pigeon-toed, all those things. Right now, just shake your legs out, sort of reset. And then we're going to take it onto the front of our foot, the sort of balls of our feet. So not quite tippy toes, towards the front. And now have a little pad around and we can go forwards. Just check where your eyes are. So are your eyes looking ahead or do they need to look down? Can you make them look ahead? Do you need something or to touch? And you'll know I'm going forwards and backwards. A little bit harder. And just like before, we can turn the toes in and out. And then take them down, give everything a good shake out. And then we're just going to circle the leg, drawing a circle on the floor. Let's go 3 times one way, 3 times the other. And then the opposite arm. It's a sort of crook circle, so you can see your elbows leading the way. 3 times one way, 3 times the other. And let your body move with that. And then same on the other leg. And you could be doing it sitting. So just drawing a circle, comfortable size. Getting a bit of noise coming through as well. And then the other arm. That's it. And now we're going to just concentrate on the arms. Just going to straighten this up a little bit. So I'm standing for this one because I know I'm going to hit things with the chair if I do this seated, but it still works seated. Arms gently forward, so we're not pushing everything forward, just gently forwards, straightish. Palms are down. Start to draw a sort of saucer-sized plate. Now make it bigger. So it's more like a side plate, a dinner plate, bigger, bigger, as big as you can comfortably go. So you might end up with sort of dustbin shaped circles. That's it. Even taking them back a little bit and out to the side. And when you've got as far as you can go and as big as you can go, we're going to reverse it. Start big. So you with these dustbin, I'm bigger than dustbin now. I don't know what to use as an object comparison. I'm going to bring it in and now make it smaller and smaller. Now we've got our arms facing forward, smaller, smaller, smaller. And you're back on your saucers. Arms down. Now we're going to send the bum back, the hip crease back. This is a good place to put your fingers against this where your body creases. as your legs join onto your belly. Just have a little touch there. You can do this holding something. And as you do it, keep your gaze ahead and your chest ahead. The aim isn't to go super low like this and have the head down. And if you're doing this seated, hands on your knees, and just send your gaze and your chest forwards. Right, now we're going to change it. If you're seated, the change is to take your hands down by your side, so the side of the chair, and to push down your legs and into your feet as you come forwards. And then sit up, you can have a little wiggle. If you're standing, it's like you're about to sit down on something. It's almost like I'm about to sit down on that sofa. Send the arms forwards, a little counterbalance. And now you can see that's my hip hinge. Now I'm going to start lowering down. And then I'm going to come up. So hip hinge back, the legs stay pretty straight. Lower, 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 and then up. The up is a bit faster. Now it can help to be looking at something ahead. So I might look at my camera, which is just at the top of my screen. And it's like I'm trying to lower myself down below the camera. And then I'm going to stand up and look right above it, almost like I'm looking down on it. So I look ahead and I'm going to lower my body below the camera, and then I'm coming up. And one more. Lovely. Now say the legs wider. Feet are outwards a little bit. Hip hinge back again. Hands on your thighs. So you're either like this standing, or you're like this on the edge of your bed or your chair. And the legs are really quite wide. So you've got your comfortable position. Right, one hand is going to come forwards, the other hand supporting you. And now swish around and let the waist turn you. So your bum doesn't move, it stays where it is. And your waist is just turning you from side to side. It's like you're swishing a load of stuff off the table, pile of newspapers, all the things you can't be bothered to tidy. And then bring your hand back, and same on the other side. And just see what it's like. I find this side, I've got a greater range of motion. So if I was doing a big swish of the table, a lot more would come off. And one more. And then bring yourself back and push yourself straight upwards and heel toe your feet in until they're facing forwards, and you're either standing or sitting, facing forwards. Bring your elbows to your waist, give them a little wiggle in. Palms are open, like I always imagine I've got little plates and I'm about to serve people. So palms are open, wrists in line with your arms. Keep this feeling of hugging in at the waist with your elbows. We're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, take your hands, little plates out to the side. As you breathe in, bring them forwards. Now nothing else changes. There's no arching in the back. The belly just stays where it is. That's it. You can do one side and then the other. What can sometimes happen is the body sort of takes over and does a bit of that for you. So you have to really concentrate on keeping the body forwards if you prefer to do one side and then the other, or both sides, and then it's easier to keep the body forwards. But it's interesting to do one side and then the other and just see what the difference is like. See if one side is a little stiffer and needs a bit more practice. Right, now we're going to let our elbows part from our sides and just have a little air. That's it. They're going out again, and this time turn them downwards and up. So they come in, back to facing forwards, out to the sides, reaching out, and then turn your palms. It can be down, it can be even all the way around. And then they come back up, last one. Lovely. And then let the arms swing. You can have a little swing forwards and backwards and let your body respond. So you might want to twist a little at the waist. Now on the chair, just watch out for banging the sides of the chair. You may feel more comfortable just swinging the arms forwards and backwards and then having a slide on the thighs. That's a little bit more comfortable from the arms than the sort of crashing into bits of furniture. And then we're going to take it down to the floor. So could be a floor, could be a bed, Could be a mattress, you know, and just pull your duvet back. And I'm going to give you sitting options as well. But I'm going to do those from the bed, otherwise it can be a bit difficult to see everything. So I'm going to move my chair outside, and I'll move between the sofa bed and the floor. So we're going to start, if you're seated, start with sort of classic 90-degree legs, but not at the very back of your chair. So you're in the front third and just resting your hands here. And if you're lying down, bring yourself down to the floor with your legs bent. This is a nice moment to do a breathing exercise that you fancy trying out. So we could do the breath exercise we did at the beginning. Just check you're comfortable, have all those little wriggles, check your head feels supported. And we can do that double breath and then the sigh. So 2 sniffs. And then an audible sigh. And again. And then we'll do some breathing for the pelvic tilts like we did at the beginning. And could you breathe into your sides and your back? You can always put your hands here if that helps. So you could have your arms crossed over you like that. So I've got my hands just here on the sides. And the sides like high waist sort of area. So as you breathe in, you're trying to send your lower ribs, which have more movement because they're attached in a different way. They're not attached to the sternum the same way, there's tendons involved. There's more room for this expansion. So we're encouraging a bit of that. Breath in. Now, as you breathe out, we're going to lower the waistband down to the floor or towards the back of the chair. And you can see I've got this sort of tilt and my pubic bones coming towards me. It's like my bum is just tilting upwards a tiny bit. And then as I breathe in, it's coming downwards. Breathing out and breathing in. Just getting that rocking motion. And one more. And then let it settle. You can rest your hands on your legs, down on the floor. And what we can do actually next is put your hands on your lap. This works whether you're seated or on the ground. And just press away and wriggle your head and spine away from your legs. So if you're on the ground, you might feel your whole body move up the mat a little. And if you're seated, you'll feel your head and spine sort of go towards the ceiling. So let's get a little bit of length. Nice. Now let everything settle. We're going to have a little slide of the legs forwards. And then it's almost like a very light drag back. So lengthen forwards and drag back. If you're on the ground, just keep going with that. Really nice light touch and the foot staying long. If you're seated, you really need to be right at the front of what you're sitting on so that your leg can extend. It's the same, slide forwards, like a little drag back, like there's a little bit of resistance. Slide forwards, drag back. That's it. And the next one's going to be slightly different. Slide forwards, lift your toes up towards you. Now drag back, keep your toes there, and then let them go down. Slide forwards, toes towards you, drag back. If you're seated, I want you to stay with that. If you are lying down, we'll do the same. So the toes come towards us, we drag back, and then place them down. But the next thing you can do if you're lying down is forwards, toes towards you, drag back, and then lift that leg up to a tabletop at 90 degrees, and then take it down. Now, if you're seated, you're sort of already doing that. That's it. The only thing with this move I notice is the socks start to work their way off. I've got my little grippy toe socks on, and they're just starting to roll down at the heels. One more. And then just have a little shimmy and a wriggle. Place your arms somewhere comfortable. I like palms up because it just opens up the shoulders a little bit. So you're trying to feel open across your collarbones. You might be resting your hands on your legs if you're seated. Right, now we're back in that start position. We've got our legs bent, feet down on the ground. We're going to move one leg, the other leg completely still, everything else still. So take a breath in. We can have our ribs going out to the sides. And as you breathe out, feel your ribs go inwards. And let one knee sway out to the side. You're just rolling onto the edge of the foot, this leg completely still. As you breathe in, bring it back to the center. Now, a nice place to put your hands here is on your pelvis, because you want to feel that nothing else is moving. It's just this leg opening to the side. Now, I say nothing else is moving. I know that my leg's having a little wobble. So we can assist this leg. We can give it a little bit of feedback. Very lightly put your hands on the outside of your thigh and see if your leg will be a little stiller. Now that works for me. For some people, their leg's coming inwards like that, and a hand on the inside of the thigh is where you want that little extra bit of feedback. It is feedback. It's not sort of gripping onto your leg. It's just like a touch. And just that sense of touch sends signals to your brain. It's like information. Oh, okay, this is where my leg is. It's definitely a mindful moment. Last one on that side. And then let the legs just have a little sway side to side. We're going to do the same on the other side. I'll do this one seated. Again, on the front bit of the chair. Feet are facing forwards. Just rest your arms. And then see this leg's going out to the side. Letting it go as far as it can without anything else changing, and then it's coming back out to the side and coming back. Now, if you're seated, gravity is working in a different way. It's slightly easier than lying down, and it might be fine for you, but if you want a bit more sensation, it can help to tie a scarf around your thighs just here, so that as you open out, you're just pushing against a scarf or something a little bit stretchy, pair of tights you can tie around your legs. It can give you a little bit more sensation and resistance. If this leg's having a wobble, hand to the side of it. This other hand could rest on the side of your chair or your bed. We're going to go one more. And then bring your legs together to touch on both positions, lying down and on the bed. And now let the knees just sway each side and start to look the other way. So if you're on the floor, tend to put our arms out for this and sort of tee backwards, tee arms, keep your shoulders on the floor, but your head can turn the opposite way. I've lost my opposites now. That's it. And then if you're seated, stay with your legs together. We're going to do a clam next. If you're lying down, you're going to lie on your side. I'll come and join you in a moment. But lying on your side with your legs in a sort of triangle bend and your head, spine and soles of your feet in line. We're going to move the top leg. So if you're seated, both legs are the same. You're going to choose one side. This is what the seated version looks like. Hold on to the chair, grow tall. Let one knee move out to the side, but the feet are hinged together, and then keep the knees together and take the foot out to the side. Now, if you've had a hip replacement, it's going to be a small movement, that second movement, this one here, internal rotation. If you had a hip replacement, might just be like this, very small. If you haven't, you might be able to do a bit more movement, might have more internal rotation in your hips. When you've had a hip rotation, the internal rotation tends to be less. So that's what it looks like seated. Stay on the same leg, lying down. Whatever support you need for your head, just check in that your waist isn't sinking down like that. My bum's sort of going upwards and my waist is sinking down. Push away on the hip. Press this bottom leg downwards. And now my feet are together like a little hinge. My knees open. And then my knees stay together like a hinge, my feet open. But it's just the top leg doing the movement. That's it. And maybe one or two more. I know you've already been doing these before I got down on the floor. So everybody have a little break. And then move your legs forwards, arms forwards. This is the lying down version. And I want you to open up like a book. Let your legs open. And then bring it down again. Now, how far you go is how far is comfortable for you to roll back. I definitely need to move my cushion back for that. And I'm sort of limited by the sofa bed behind me. If that feels like too much, you can pull your elbow back. Now, if you're doing this seated, work one side. So think of the side. I was working this leg before, so I'm going to work the same side arm. Keep the legs together. Open that arm out to the side and let the knee fall outwards as that arm opens, and then bring it back. So you can see it looks the same, we're just in a different orientation. One more. And then we're back to the legs together, but if you're lying on your side, you're going to need to change, either roll over or flip yourself the other way, whichever works better for you. And then we're doing the same on the other side. So that's the seated version. Hinging at the feet, opening the knee, and then taking the foot out and hinging at the knee. And if you're lying on your side, a little nudge down of the hips just to make the waist feel a bit more active. Opening the knees, keeping the knees closed, opening the feet. Press the bottom leg down to the floor. I always think of this part clam, part Charleston. That's it. And one more of each. And then the arms come forwards. And we're doing the opening like a book. You can bring your legs forwards as well. Think of this like sitting on a chair. Check your cushion as well, so that as you roll open, you've got something to roll onto. And then start to open your pages. Let your legs open as well. And then close again. You can also slide your elbow back if that feels more comfortable. If you've got shoulder issues, that can feel more comfortable in the bigger opening. You can imagine quite a big hard back, opening up in the center, and then the page is closing again. And one more. And then we're going to push ourselves back to seated. And if you're on the floor, I'd like you seated in a sort of position like this with your feet together. And if you're on a chair or on your bed, let your knees fall apart and let your feet come together and touch together. Now, how close can you bring your feet to you? It's going to vary. Depends how comfortable your hips are in this. So I can bring them quite far forwards. Some people will go closer than me. We're trying to get a straightish back here. It might be much more comfortable for your feet not to touch and your legs to be further forward. We're just going to let the knees sort of flap a little. Butterfly, seated butterfly this is. And I really like to hold onto my feet. Now you could do a little side to side wiggle. We could do a little up and down. And if we was doing this seated, I could even use this cushion at my feet on the cushion, that's nice. And you can use your hands to assist. And you might bring the feet really close to you so they're almost like tucked under, and see how that feels. And then further away. That's it. And then we'll end like we started. So now put your legs in a comfortable position for you. I'm going to go for a cross-legged position. And we're going to do that double sniff and an audible sigh. So sort of Sniff, sniff like you're sniffing a beautiful flower. And sigh. Sniff, sniff. And sigh. Oh, thank you for joining me today. Always a pleasure. We'll take our hands out to the sides and scoop up the air. Bring your hands to touch. Take them down the center of your body to your chest. Just feel your chest, your heart beating. Give yourself a clap. Have a lovely rest of your week. Enjoy the amazing, amazing stuff that Virtual Village Hall are putting on as part of Mindspace Week. I'll see you again next week.